Here's what you need to know before The Mandalorian and Grogu. This is the first Star Wars movie since The Rise of Skywalker concluded the Skywalker saga in 2019. It's a continuation of The Mandalorian, the first live-action Star Wars series ever made.
I can get you more credits.
I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
Which concluded its third season in 2023. The entire story takes place between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy. So it's after Luke and the Rebels defeat the Empire in Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, but before the First Order rises up and Rey comes along in Episode 7, The Force Awakens. That means the galaxy is living under the New Republic, established after the defeat of the Empire. But there are still remnants of Imperial forces trying to restore themselves to power. The story follows Din Djarin, a Mandalorian bounty hunter. Mandalorians are a cultural group with a long history in the Star Wars universe as a society made up of skilled warriors. They once lived on the planet Mandalore, but by the time our story starts, they've been displaced and scattered across the galaxy. Din Djarin, who also goes by the nickname Mando, belongs to the subgroup of Mandalorians called the Children of the Watch. They live by a specific creed known as the Way of the Mandalore.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
And they strictly adhere to this creed like a religion. For instance, they are forbidden to remove their helmets. The Children of the Watch live by this creed in an attempt to return to the ways of ancient Mandalorians. They are led by the Armorer, who crafts the Beskar armor that's famous both within the story and as an iconic look from Star Wars. Working as a bounty hunter and mercenary, Mando is hired to capture a 50-year-old target alive. Despite his age, that target ends up being...
I would like to see the baby.
An infant. Fans referred to him as Baby Yoda, but he is not Yoda. He belongs to the same species as Yoda, but his name is Grogu. Mando immediately forms a bond with Grogu and refuses to give him to the client who, as it turns out, was working on behalf of one of those remnants of the Empire. Moff Gideon leads a group of Imperial forces that want to capture Grogu because of his Force sensitivity.
I will act in my own self-interest, which at this time involves your cooperation and benefit.
By the end of Season 1, Mando and Grogu managed to avoid Gideon, but we also found out that he had a much bigger connection to Mandalorians than we thought, when it's revealed that he has the Darksaber. The Darksaber first appeared in the Clone Wars TV series. It's a kind of lightsaber that was created by Tar Vizsla, the first Mandalorian to become a Jedi. Over many years, the Darksaber became the symbol of Mandalorian leadership, like a king or queen's crown. The Darksaber had to be won in combat, but whoever possessed it was deemed the leader of Mandalore.
Only the strongest shall rule.
The last Mandalorian to have it was Bo-Katan Kryze. She was in charge back when the Empire was fighting against the Rebellion, so during the time of the original trilogy. Even though the Mandalorians were an independent, neutral group, the Empire was worried about them potentially joining the Rebellion. So they attacked Mandalore in an event that's known as the Great Purge, or the Night of 1,000 Tears.
The Imperial interlopers destroyed all that we knew and loved in the Night of 1,000 Tears.
And the operation was conducted by Moff Gideon. Bo-Katan had actually tried surrendering to Gideon on the condition that the rest of the Mandalorians and the planet would be spared. She did so by offering the Darksaber, which he took, but he then betrayed his word and carried out the purge anyway. Many Mandalorians died and their planet essentially became uninhabitable. This is the event that caused the Mandalorians to scatter across the galaxy. And it turns out not all Mandalorians live by the same creed as Mando does. In fact, other Mandalorians, like Bo-Katan and her followers, view the Children of the Watch as zealots who live by outdated traditions. Different beliefs and infighting between Mandalorians has been a problem throughout their history, and it's currently preventing them from uniting and retaking control of Mandalore. Mando and Grogu eventually cross paths with Ahsoka Tano, a former Jedi. She reveals that Grogu actually started to train as a Jedi, and we eventually learn that he actually survived the infamous Order 66, when Sith Lord Palpatine ordered the clone army to wipe out the Jedi. By the end of Season 2, Moff Gideon has tracked down Mando and Grogu once again. Mando manages to defeat Gideon in combat, meaning that he now wields the Darksaber. But he also sadly agrees to part ways with Grogu so that Grogu can train to be a Jedi once again with none other than Luke Skywalker himself. But before Grogu leaves, Mando decides to break his creed and remove his helmet so that Grogu can see his face. And then a key part of the story actually happened in an entirely separate series, The Book of Boba Fett. Despite the fact that the series was supposed to be about the bounty hunter, several episodes actually served as season 2.5 of The Mandalorian. Mando struggles to stay away from Grogu and tries to deliver a gift to Grogu, a chainmail vest made of Beskar. Luke can sense that Grogu is still very attached to Mando, which is against the Jedi way. So Luke gives Grogu a choice: take the chainmail and give up the Jedi way, or take Yoda's lightsaber and continue training. We find out that Grogu chooses to be with Mando when he returns to help Mando and Boba Fett, who's kind of a good guy now, as they take control of Jabba the Hutt's old territory. At the start of season 3, Mando makes a journey to Mandalore where he is supposed to cleanse himself in the living waters. This is to redeem himself for breaking the creed when he removed his helmet. Bo-Katan decides to help him find the living waters since her plans to restore Mandalore to its former glory have fallen apart. And that's because she needs the Darksaber, but it now belongs to Mando. He offers to give her the Darksaber, but by Mandalorian customs, it must be won in combat, and Bo-Katan has no desire to fight him. Bo-Katan returns with Mando to the Children of the Watch. Even though their group would typically view other Mandalorians who don't follow the creed as heretics, Mando vouches for her since she saved both his and Grogu's lives. The Armorer acknowledges that Bo-Katan could potentially unite all Mandalorians despite their differences.
Mandalore must all come together. You have walked both worlds. You are the one who can unite us.
With this encouragement, Mando agrees to help Bo-Katan try to retake Mandalore. As they're gathering Mandalorian forces, Mando tells them that the Darksaber actually belongs to Bo-Katan, because she defeated a cyborg that had defeated him. This works for some of them, but others still think she's weak if she refuses to fight Mando. She defeats one of her doubters in a duel, but refuses to kill him.
Enough Mandalorian blood has been spilled by your own hands.
She does this for the same reason she refuses to fight Mando.
Mandalorians are stronger together.
Apes together, strong!
She tells them that the only way for them to restore their homeworld is to set aside their differences and join each other, which they agree to do. Unfortunately, Moff Gideon, who escaped his trial in the New Republic, lays a trap on Mandalore to try and wipe them out once and for all. During this battle, Mando discovers why Gideon had wanted to capture Grogu, the reason this whole story started in the first place.
That's not Gideon. Those are his clones.
It was because Gideon believed he could transfer Grogu's Force abilities into his own clones, and then establish himself as the new leader of the Empire. But this doesn't work out because Mando destroys the clones, and Gideon appears to finally be defeated when he's consumed in an explosion. Mando and Bo-Katan only survive thanks to Grogu's Force abilities. So at the end of Season 3, the Mandalorian people have reclaimed their homeworld of Mandalore. Mando has officially adopted Grogu as his son and apprentice, and instead of bounty hunting, they make a deal with the New Republic to hunt down any remaining Imperial warlords. Which basically means that instead of taking contracts from the highest bidder, Mando has decided to work directly with the New Republic, which replaced the Empire. So he's working with the good guys to take out the bad guys. Which leads us to the Mandalorian and Grogu, where the two of them will cross paths with the Hutt twins, who have taken over for their dead father, Jabba. So I'd love to hear what you think about The Mandalorian. Are you excited for the new movie? Let me know.